Well, folks, our viewers, again, we want to say a pleasant good evening and welcome to everyone. First of all, we want to apologize that we are not by the time and the schedule today due to some technical adjustments that we had to make. But however, we thank God that we are here today to have a conversation with our Reverend, the Reverend Dr. Eric M. Allison. He's here. We are going to be touching on a few um, topics today. One of them is going to be what do we envisage of the new LCL? What do we envisage of the new LCL? And then the next thing we'll be looking at is the qualities of the candidates in the race. So far, in fact, we will kind of say the aspirants in the race. We will be looking at the aspirants because the election committee has not come up yet with the full listing of those who are qualified. But from our own perspective as Lutherans, um, from my perspective as a lay person in the church, and from the vantage point of our doctor, Pastor Allison, who served in our church. So we will be coming up. We will be coming from that angle. And the next thing also too we'll be looking at is after the election. What next? What happens after the elections? And there's no one, better, I would say, to discuss this topic today other than our guest we have in studio today, which is the Reverend Dr. Eric M. Allison. He's been there before and he is here today with us. So I think we're going to have a good time. Reverend, I want to say welcome.
Thank you, Willie. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. How was service today?
I should be honest. I should really, really be honest. I really did not attend service.
Okay.
Madam came yesterday, and we had to take our boys to the barber shop. We had one or two activities to take care of. So,
Okay. Okay. All
yeah, I
right.
must
Good.
confess. Yeah, I must confess. Yeah, but we're gonna go quickly into our program for today. We first of all, we want to look at I don't know what do you think, Reverend? We should go to our candidates, or we should look at go in the order in which we have it listed. The new LCL that we all envisaged.
Well, Willie, we have five aspirants.
Yeah,
We have five aspirants and three males or three men and two women. We take the two women and then the three men, all pastors, ordained pastors, duly ordained by the LCL. Um, the two women aspirants, as we know, if at least those that we know who apply, um, Reverend the Reverend uh, Janice F. Gono,
right, right.
we know her very well, and
Yeah, we
then
yeah we know her very well. Yep.
the Reverend Orita Miller Davis,
Rita Miller
which
Davis.
we know
Yep.
very well, and the
Yes,
three the
absolutely.
three the three men,
Hmm.
um, the Reverend Moses B. Goba,
Right,
and the Reverend G. Victor Padmo,
right.
the Reverend Morba F. Zizi.
Yeah,
And these are all, all five of them are our colleagues
yeah.
in the ministry of
Hmm.
Word and Sacrament in the
Right.
LCL.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we very familiar with them. Um, they're pretty good aspirants, so we really expect a very good contest
Yeah, yeah,
come
yeah.
April
Absolutely.
2023.
Yeah, absolutely, Remy. We do expect a very good contest. Like you mentioned, you give the list of the four, five applicants so far.
Yes.
The
Mhm.
aspirants, and we hope to get the listing. Come up anytime this week from the elections committee. And like you say, I want to join you also too to say that all of them they are all great leaders, and
Mhm.
either one of them will make a good representation of our church out there.
Right.
Um, Speaking of Reverend Morbazizi, speaking of Reverend Patmo had been with the church, most especially like with the Phoebe area, the Phoebe Hospital. He has been leading and representing the church in that area.
Chaplain, yeah,
Yeah, that's
the,
Chaplain. Yeah,
the
and
chaplain,
then the Reverend Janice Gono work in the church. She's still currently serving at St. Peter's, and also she headed the HIV program,
yes,
one of
yes,
our male programs in the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And currently we have Reverend Orita Miller Davis. She's also heading the program, and the program, the
yes,
program has been and the program is doing well. And also we have
yes,
the Reverend Moses Goba. So again, I
yes.
want to join you. I want to say that all of them, either one of them can represent our church. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. I believe in all of them. I believe in their capabilities and
Yeah.
abilities. They, they all the fact that they all desire
Right.
to serve in that office. It means we we can count on all of them. But again, everything is left with the elections committee, the election
Right.
commission. Yeah,
Right. Right.
commission is I think has vetted them or is still in the process of vetting them, screening them. So
I understand last week. I understand last week Saturday. I think it was last week Saturday that
uh-huh.
the elections committee um went through the vetting process. I mean, the week before this on Saturday, that the
Yeah,
election committee went through the vetting process, and the election committee was able to screen all of the candidates. So I I, I I want to kind of agree, and I'm very much optimistic that the the listing won't fall short, of either of
hmm,
the names, But Remy, you've been there. You've been there. You've been there before in 2012.
2012,
So
yeah, 2012. We're in the
what,
race. 2012.
right, right, you are in the race. So what was the environment like? What was the temperature like? What was the mood like at this time? What was the mood like?
Yeah, it it
Wait,
it
wait
it,
on the list to come out.
it wasn't too heated like now because we
Okay,
were less in number.
okay,
We were three candidates,
okay.
and we had
Who are those three candidates?
the we had the current bishop,
Okay,
Bishop Dr. D. Jensen Senklo. He was the first candidate, and then we had the Reverend G. Victor Padmo,
right,
the second candidate, and then of course your humble servant.
right.
I was the third candidate. So we were three candidates. We were three
Yeah.
aspirants. No, I think we were like four aspirants.
Okay,
And then after the committee screened the four aspirants, three persons were qualified as candidates.
okay, okay.
Yes, so the three of us, Reverend Dr. D. Jensen Senklo, now
Mhm.
Bishop, and then Reverend G. Victor Padmo, and myself,
Right.
we were qualified to contest in 2012.
Hmm.
A total time.
Wow. So
Yeah.
at that time, we had three doctors going in the race, along with one person who wasn't a doctor or who isn't a doctor. But comparing it to this time where you have three, sorry, five.
Actually, we had only one doctor,
Oh, at the time you only had one doctor.
and four persons who, not four, but three other persons who had masters.
Masters, okay.
I had not earned my doctorate at the time.
But
Um,
you were
I
in the
started
process
my
of earning
doctoral. I
it.
was a doctoral student,
Okay.
a doctoral student vying for the bishopric at the time. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
so I was eating with two spoons.
So
Yeah,
at that so prior to the election, you were not referred to as a doctor, but it was
no,
like after
no.
the elections. Okay.
I became a doctor in 2015.
In 2015. Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
that was
March
probably like two, three
March
years ago.
11,
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So someone has a comment here. Someone has a comment here. We're gonna share it. Maybe we can just speak about it just quickly. This
Okay.
is from Brother Sonny A. George. He said this is good, but it will have been better to have had a representative from the Elections Commission of the LCL to provide update on the process. Yes, Brother George, Brother Sonny George, at this time, the election committee has been working. We've been getting some information that they are at some point coming up with the list. So we tried reaching the election committee, but the elections committee is working on some critical issue. They're
They're
working some
busy.
issue
They're
to
busy
come up. They
working.
are busy. They are busy
Yeah.
working to come up with some critical, decisions. So
Mhm.
at this time, we could not bring them, but the election committee has assured us that once
Yes.
the listing comes out, so hopefully
Hmm.
by next week, we're going to be having an election committee. They're going to appear. So because the chairman, when the chairman appeared on the show the last time, the chairman gave us the assurance. The chairman said
Yeah.
that he is the next time, anytime we call upon him or the committee is going to appear, and the committee
Hmm.
also, he's not going to be the only one to come on the show, but
Yes. Yes.
another person is going to come, or two or three people that will come along with him. So yes, Brother George, yeah, you are right. We did make that effort, but
Hmm.
at this time we would just say, like, our Reverend is saying the committee is busy.
They're
so,
busy.
so, so,
They
so
will come. They will come to the church
no, they will
very
come.
soon.
Yeah, they will come to the
Yeah.
church. I mean, and
Mhm.
and the chairman. Speaking of the committee, the chairman the last time when we had him on the show, he appreciated this effort, and he also told us that like I said, anytime we call on them, they will be willing to come, to provide information and make clarity on any other issues that people have questions about, and
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so but back to our candidates. At this time we don't have any doctor in the race. Is that a reason why you think it's kind of
No,
because everyone
the doctor,
everyone think they are equal?
the only doctor withdrew.
The only doctor will do.
I withdrew. I withdrew. Before things got heated. So, and I had one simple reason. Family reasons, and I think that that was very much considered. So I could not continue the process for
Okay.
family reasons. Yeah. So we have
So so
five
so
uh,
the
five
owner doctor
solid and qualified
doctor decided
masters.
not to continue due to family reason, but the, so Reverend, we also have a comment here. We have a comment here from our viewing audience. We have our brother Cesar Goya. Brother Cesar Goya has been following us religiously, I would say.
Hmm.
He has a point here. He has a comment. He said, please do your audience a favor, cast your net wide for the selection of a varied and dissatisfied set of guests.
Yeah,
So
diversified. Yeah.
diversified
So
set of guests. So
maybe he
um
wants he wants some other person to join us.
okay, if anyone out there is willing to join us,
They welcome.
Brother Goya, I like to bring Brother Goya in if you want to come.
Yes.
This is
If
my
you,
cousin, in fact.
yeah.
This is my
Yeah.
cousin. So, I can bring you on, cuz, and
Hmm.
we'll be glad if you can join us.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. A matter of fact, Reverend, I will just try to reach out to him.
Yeah.
He can,
Invite him. Let him
yeah,
come
yeah.
on
I'll
the
try to
program.
reach out to him so
This
that,
program is for all Lutherans.
yes, the program is for all Lutherans. So,
Mhm.
let me try to reach out to him quickly. This is
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
yeah, he's actually my relative. In fact, besides us being in the same church. So
I
yeah,
think maybe he wants some lay Lutheran Christian lay persons
yeah.
at
We can have a lay
LCL,
person. And we can
and,
have a lay person. We can also have
they are also welcome.
a pastor, a lay person.
Other
So
pastors,
mhm.
who are able
Yes,
to come
like we said,
on
the program is for all
for
Lutherans,
all
all
Lutheran
Lutherans.
Christians
So
all over the
it is
world,
not
especially Lutheran Church in Liberia,
yeah,
and for all Christians for that matter.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's welcome.
Okay, so I just contacted him, so I'm waiting for his response. So
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So Reverend, so I mean, this is the thing. Like I mean, like we started, we said that all of the candidates, for me, they are okay. So uh, our viewing audience, please give us just a few moments. We need to have a guest joining us quickly. So Reverend, 1 second, please. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. 1 second. 1 second. Let me. Okay. So sorry. Again, our viewing audience will want to say um, welcome again to another edition of my Lutheran Connections. Very shortly, we are going to be having um, one of our lay persons from the church in person of Brother Cesar Goya. Brother Cesar Goya is currently in Minnesota, Minneapolis. So he's going to be joining us very,
Good,
very
good, good.
shortly. And he's
That's
going to
great.
be, yeah, he's going to be joining us. So he just gave me that okay to get him invited. So I've sent the information to him. So yeah,
Good.
Reverend. So let us look at the candidates. I mean, individual. I know we quickly, we just put all of them into one group. But I mean,
Yeah.
can we look at some? Can we look at the qualities in these candidates, individual candidates? Talking about legs of Reverend Patmo, talking about Reverend Zizi, talking about
Mm-hmm.
Reverend Oba, talking about Reverend Janice Gono, talking about Reverend
Mm-hmm.
Orita Miller Davis. Can we look at?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can we look at the candidates individually? Look at some of the work that they've done, either at
Okay.
programs and as parages of assignment. What are some of the things that they did at these areas that I mean we can say yes. I mean we can stand as Lutherans and say, look, these candidates. I can tell you for
Mm-hmm.
one fact that if Reverend Morba Zizi is elected bishop, I mean
Mm-hmm.
he's going to ably represent our church. I have no
Mm-hmm.
doubt of Reverend Janice Gono. I have no
Mm-hmm.
doubt of Reverend Moses Goba. I have no doubt of Reverend Patmo, Victor G. Patmo. I have no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Reverend Victor G. Patmo, Reverend Victor G. Patmo, uh, uh, in addition to him serving as chaplain at Phoebe, he also runs. I want to believe he still runs a little, organization, a little program. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just forgetting the name of that program. And like we said, Reverend Orita Miller Davis. I mean, she's heading the HIV and AIDS program. And the
Mm-hmm.
program, like I said,
Yeah.
that's one of our premier programs
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
church. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. The candidates, I mean, the aspirants, we really hoping and praying that
One,
pretty soon we'll have the list, official list of candidates.
one, one, one
Then
sec,
we'll
one sec,
have, yeah.
1 second, Reverend. We're gonna get our guest in quickly before you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay,
All right.
okay.
Yeah. My dear brother, Brother Koya.
Man, first thing I was laying there enjoying my sleep, just listening to
Oh,
you. My, my intent was not to come on, was just to be a critique in the back,
No,
oh,
no, man.
to be one of those keyboard
how are
warriors.
you, Susie?
How you doing? How you doing, Reverend Addison? How you doing, sir?
Good, good, good. How is
No, but
Minnesota
we,
today?
we are glad you are here. We are glad you are here.
Cold, but we can't complain. But there we're used to that
I,
now. So
I know, I know.
haven't seen you in a long time, my man. How you been doing, Chief?
I'm doing well. I'm doing
My man,
well.
I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking to the Reverend.
I'm around. We between Pennsylvania and Maryland,
Okay, all
between
right.
Baltimore and Philadelphia. One for in Baltimore, one for in Philadelphia. I'm in Baltimore right now. Every weekend, I'm in Baltimore during the week. I'm in Philadelphia, Baltimore during ministry,
Okay, all right.
and then in Philadelphia with the family and doing other responsibilities.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
how your family?
The family is great. We are thankful to God. We can't complain. We are blessed, Reverend. So
That's great. That's
we're
great.
great.
That's great.
Uh,
Yeah,
Mr. Mr.
I love Minneapolis, Minnesota. I was there. What 2017? William, I was there
Yeah, we're
2017
there in 2017.
for the
And
Alia convention.
yeah, yeah, we're
Uh,
there for
If
that.
I
Yeah.
hope we can
if
have the
about any
opportunity.
politics, any politics we pay, we to go there. So I don't know what. But I don't Omar doing. You know,
No,
did he tell you he's my cousin?
yeah,
I
yeah. I,
know.
I, I
That's
told
what
I
he
put it
told me.
Yeah, yeah.
And we
very.
saw your comment, during the last program that we appeared,
Okay.
and talking about the three ecumenical partners who operate one seminary.
Yeah, but anyway, we're gonna go back to the so I was before you joined us, Brother Goya, I was just uh talking with the Reverend, looking at the five applicants, the five aspirants. So initially, he and I agreed that either one of them can make a good representation of our church.
Mhm.
Uh, and he was just about to speak on some of those achievements, you know, of the aspirants, like the places of assignment. It could be program, it could be parish, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we know. Let's take the women first. Reverend Reverend Orita Miller Davis. I I've been knowing her for several years now. In fact, she and I go back a long ways. I knew her mother from Zaza, so I'm very familiar with her family. She's a very strong, determined pastor of our church, one of our strong female pastors. I know one of her areas that she really served was in with the St. Matthew's parish
Mhm.
in the Morovia district. She did very well there as a pastor in charge. First as associate, and then later on, she was associate to our brother, the late Reverend Charles F. Freeman, peace be to his soul. And then when he joined the Communion of Saints in 2014, Reverend Davis was appointed, was assigned rather to be senior pastor in charge. And even then she worked very hard. She worked very hard working. One of the areas that I really observed her was the area of organizing the women in prayer, in the prayer ministry of the church, strengthening the spiritual arm of the church, the spiritual growth. And that was one area where I really admire her skills as an organizer, of the prayer team in St. Matthew Parish. And we had the opportunity to serve with her later on in the parish at one of their congregations in Jacobtown, and, and later on it became Holy Hills. And then she assumed the helm of the HIV and AIDS program, in recent years. And I think that's where she is currently, working very hard to make sure that HIV and AIDS education and counseling services through the church are extended to our people in the church and in the Liberian society, and beyond. So, Reverend Janice F. Gono, um, and Reverend Gono and I have something very much in common. She attended the same seminary that I attended in Tanzania, the Tumaini University. Right after I left 2005, she got a scholarship from the church in Germany, and my scholarship came from the U.S., the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and she went there, and from 2007 to 2009 got her master's in HIV and AIDS counseling and education, and she transformed her thesis into a book form, and that book has been out. I hope she will try to maybe republish a fresh edition of her book, which is very good, educating the public on the advantages and disadvantages of, living with HIV and AIDS in the world today. And she, I know her to have served with the what's the church in Harrisburg? Day Memorial
Day Memorial Lutheran Church.
Harrisburg. She served there, and then she also served with the HIV and AIDS program as coordinator before she got the opportunity to travel to the U.S. to obtain her second master's. You know, and so and currently she is the new shepherd for St. Peter's Lutheran Parish in St. Paul, Within
Right.
Street. Yeah, so that's a and Reverend Morba F. Zizi, um, again Reverend Zizi, he goes way back to he started serving. He served in the southeast after his ordination with the southeastern districts. He did quite a good job there, and then he came back. He also served with the Reed Memorial Parish, the oldest parish of the LCL in Millsburg, and then later on he also served with the HIV and AIDS program when Reverend Goba traveled for his studies in the U.S. So Reverend Zeze is, he also has some vast exposure in ministry, leadership, and Reverend Reverend Moses B. Goba also a very hardworking young man. Uh, we used to he Morba Zeze and Reverend J. Ugolokoli, they were the evangelists in St. Peter's Lutheran Parish, and they used to go, do street evangelism, and that's where I got to know Reverend Goba from very well. And then, of course, later on, he got the opportunity to serve with the HIV and AIDS project. He also served with the Day Memorial Lutheran Parish in Harrisburg, and at some point in time, as a pastor with the St. Peter's, I mean, not St. Peter's, the St.
St.
Matthew,
Matthews. St. Matthews.
St. Matthew Parish in Painesville,
Mhm.
in the Morovia district, and he also headed the HIV and AIDS program. That is one area where he did exceptionally well perform. He expanded the program, attracted funding, a lot of funding for the church during the administration of the late Bishop Harris, and he also had the opportunity to do his master's in the States, sponsored by a scholarship through some friends from the ELCA. So, um, Reverend G. Victor Padmo, in fact, I will call him the most senior among the five. He is even 2 years my senior.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so he's a veteran in
He's a
the
veteran.
he's a veteran in the LCL, and he has served in he mainly served for many years with the St. Luke's Parish and chaplain. That's one area where he's well known as chaplain of the PB Hospital. At one point in time, acting administrator for the hospital, the School of Nursing. He also taught some courses at GST, at Cottington, Christian Ethics. So he's a educator. He's a pastor, and like you said, he was running a program. I'm sure he's still running at Hope Village International.
Right, right.
He
Hopefully.
runs an orphanage school in the Bensonville area, connected with the Fremantle Lutheran Parish there in Carrollsburg. And Reverend Padmo also, I served with him on the board of ministry, theology, evangelism, and adjudication. Some point in time, he was my co-chair, and then later on, he became chair for the board, served several years as chair of the board, and that's where he is currently. He's still the chaplain, the veteran chaplain, long-serving chaplain of the Phoebe Hospital. And he and I were privileged to contest for the bishopric in 2012. He had contested in 2008, and so he got that experience from the contest. 2012, he also contested in 2017 against the incumbent bishop. and of course the incumbent was given the second term mandate, and so I think all five of them. I have personally, I have no problem. I've worked with all of them in the LCL over the years, or and the committee. We just waiting now for the committee to come up with the final listing
Yeah,
of the qualified candidates, and we praying for all of them. We praying that all of them will qualify
qualify. Yeah,
to be
yeah,
eligible to have the opportunity to
right.
serve as pastor of pastors. That's how I like to call the bishop, pastor of the pastors,
Pastors of the pastor.
and
Right.
and for the pastor of the church as well. So we're praying for all of them. We pray that they will all succeed to be qualified to contest. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to go over to our brother Goya from the lay person perspective, looking at all of the aspirants or the
Hmm.
applicants, we will say, until the final listing is up from the election committee. How do you look at our aspirants? Until you join us, Reverend and I said that either of the five can ably represent our church.
Hmm.
You might have not worked with all of them, like the Reverend in the position of the in the case of the Reverend Allison, uh, but I believe you know some of them, and you yeah.
Yeah, well, first thing I know right before I came on, the Reverend was talking about his withdrawal from the race. And while that is disappointing to me personally, I still do believe that there are qualified
Oh,
people. I
you're
follow.
ready to support?
Well, now you're not running, so I can give
Oh,
yes, you know. Um, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I think it would have elevated. I mean, with all due respect to the people in the race, the more people you get in the race, the most qualified people you get in the race, the more varied the candidates are and where they stand.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think the church stands to gain. It's always better for the church. So for me,
Hmm.
that's where I'm coming from. When I
Yeah.
know you and I know your breadth of knowledge and experience, so I've
Hmm.
taken yourself out. That's why I'm talking
Hmm.
about
Hmm.
the disappointment. But I do understand family. A family comes number one. I mean, I'm doing the same thing too. I'm withdrawing myself from so many places and contracting, coming back home to focus on my family. So I can't
Hmm.
fault you for that. But all of the people that are running, I know all of them. And I was smiling when you're talking about the old hands in the business. Like Reverend Goba and Zeze and all those, because I come from the from St. Peter's, and then also
Hmm.
I went to school in Phoebe.
Hmm.
So I know all these people. The only thing I was trying to say is that before you brought me on was that the Lutheran hour. I think we can do well when we vary the people we bring on. It doesn't always have to be about church leadership. It can also be about church stewardship and church servantship.
Hmm.
Looking at our poor people who are in the Pele Belaloma congregation, for example, in other places, bringing those people on to
Hmm.
articulate what are their vision, what do they hope to see of their respective parishes, and but also
Hmm.
of the larger LCL, because quite too often what happens is the position or the table where the ideas and the vision for the church is crafted. A lot of these people don't have access to those tables. They don't have seat at those tables, and so what happens is we run a church or we run parishes without operating at full potential. And full potential means getting the knowledge base of all of our parishioners and people that are there. So that's the point I was trying to make there. Sometimes it's okay to bring in
Hmm.
lay people who might not understand the
The,
the, the, the, the intricacies and the difficulties in the inner workings of the church, but they understand what happened on their pew. They understand what happened between the relationship between them and their evangelist or their local pastor, and what would they want for the greater LCL. So that's the point I was trying to make. You guys have been doing a wonderful job bringing in really expert, and I know you just started this, so this is a way to start. Is you lay the foundation, you bring in the experts, you bring in people who are knowledgeable to lay the groundwork. But I will hope that I'm not going to say you because I'm a Lutheran, that we can expand this platform wherein we give access and we give voice to people who otherwise most times don't get called to those tables where people are asking them, what do you think? What do you hope? what do you wish? What are some drawbacks that we see here? So that was the point I was actually trying to make, and I think that's why I'm a layman. I've always been a layman in the Lutheran Church from National Lutheran Youth Fellowship days till now. But the idea is that you get people on that will talk about, we all love our church. We all want to see the Lutheran Church to be number one to none in Liberia. How can we move the Lutheran Church forward to get to that place that we know it deserves, right? Wele Kobe, you are a product of the Lutheran Church. I am Josiah Jokai. There are a lot. There are not a want of intellect or knowledge when it comes to people who are products of the National Lutheran Youth. What are we doing? Because we can listen to all of the platform of these great leaders. They are going to need followers. And so my thing is, I will hope we can run the church election a little bit different from political elections, where we elect people and then we say, now go forward and do the work. And then we're going to stand back and watch you, right? I think we have to do this a little bit differently, where we elect people. And I like how the Reverend said that you elect the pastor of pastors, because we still have pastors who are leader. But then we also make sure that we're bringing along all of our congregations along the way to say, here are our visions. Yes, you ran on A, B, C, D, E, but we think FGH might help me in Bentor. EF and whatever might help me in Salaye. It might help me in Zozo. So that was the point I was trying to make when I said, let's try to cast our net really wider, because we might run the risk of just, contracting way too much, that we just start looking at very small issues that don't really speak to the issues of people in Turota or in Salala or wherever else we have branches. So that was the point I was trying to make.
Absolutely, absolutely, brother. Again, I want to say thank you very much. In fact, thank you for uh, um, taking up the time freshly to join us this evening. Okay.
Yeah.
Secondly, I want to say that I want to thank you for agreeing with us that this platform is for every Lutheran, every Christian. Okay. And like you said, that we've just started. This is an idea that evolved from one person, was shared to another and was shared to the next person. It's almost like, I mean, not HIV in a negative sense, but I'm looking at HIV in some, connective sense, that it just started from one person to another, to another, to another, and we all bought the idea. Even the Reverend
Mhm.
Allison here, when I shared the idea with him, he's like, you know what, that's a great idea. Started, and we're gonna join it. We are gonna move forward. And
Mhm.
I know very much well that sometime to come, we're gonna get your schedule. We're gonna be inviting you to come here so we can discuss some of the issues. Our lay people,
Yeah.
You
lay
like
people.
politics, so that my one and out here. So
We
I
need
know.
we need more late
I know.
perspectives.
So yeah, yeah. So we've just started this. And again, we are going to invite. We are going to we try our best to reach out, but we have a schedule, and we are going to reach out to our lay people. It's not only going to be the pastors in our church, but we are going to reach out to the lay people. Like the last time we brought in,
The
we made
national men president, right?
the
President,
national men
national men.
president. We
Yeah.
also made an attempt to bring in sis Nenswa being Livingston. You know,
Hmm.
you see the program that she's running in
Yeah.
Liberia. She
Hmm.
she started that program out of her own pocket.
Hmm.
Okay, and today we see the help that she has rendered. Through support from other people, helping other children. Less fortunate children. So
and let me just pause you there, Willie, before I forget, because you just brought on this one and the help for others people, and I think those are some of the things that will help us, because in this day and age, uh, what happens is people are becoming so disenchanted with the idea of Christianity, right? With all of these whatever things happening on the sidelines that are pulling people away from Christianity. So to start focusing on some of our sisters and brethren who are actually doing the work, I think will
right,
help us as Lutherans, but will help the fellowship of God's people. So, for example, there is one of our fellow NLFers, right, in the person of Dr. King,
yeah, we're
who
going to reach to that. But go ahead,
right,
go ahead, go
who
ahead.
is now in India. I just spoke to him this morning. He's in India, right? I have forgotten this brother because we were all in National Lutheran Youth together. I didn't remember him. We were all babies by the time. But when Niswa posted his situation with needing $8,000, to travel to
Mhm.
save his life. And this is a medical doctor, a pediatrician, one of the best in the country, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he had to beg for $8,000 to travel to save his life. That brought me down to tears. So I decided, you know what, I was going to help. I didn't even know I knew this brother. I was like, the fact that he's a pediatrician, I'm going to help. Because that's how we were brought out in the Lutheran church: is you help out
Yeah.
other people. Right, that's what St. Peter's taught me. I don't know
Mhm.
other people, but that's what St. Peter's taught me when Reverend Goba was heading at the time my confirmation class. So I still
Mhm.
remember that, and so we
Mhm.
decided to help. But once I decided to help, Niswa called me and said, "But brother, do you know this guy?" I said, "No." She said, "But you know, he was in the National Lutheran Youth with all of us." Come to find out,
Mhm.
he actually taught my wife
Wow.
Mhm.
biology and chemistry at a university.
Wow.
So you see, so that even gave me more impetus to help raise money to get this brother to save his life. But those
Right.
are the kind of stories I was talking about, Willie. That when our brethren and sisters or the churches even doing
Mhm.
that we need to highlight to let people know that the church is not dead.
Yeah.
Yes, there might be a lot of people trying to make us think that way. There might be a lot of people who've entered Christianity for the wrong reason that are
Right.
pulling people away from Christ. But there's still people doing the day one
Right.
Christ-like work that he
Mhm.
asked about, and the day one Lutheran Church love that the old hands put in us. And
Mhm.
there's a person like Niswa, and then her sister Nelly, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of other people doing that. So I
Right.
just want to pause you on that because I didn't want to forget that,
Oh
because
no,
this
absolutely,
as one of the things we
absolutely,
need to talk about.
absolutely. And quickly, I would just make reference. I would state this. This is a biblical. I mean, this is a saying of our Lord Jesus Christ, but I believe Reverend will help us in with the scripture reference, because Jesus said, "Whatsoever we do for the least of our brother, we have done it for him." So we don't have to go.
Matthew 25.
Matthew 25. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. So
Mhm.
whatsoever we do for the least of our brothers, so we made every attempt. We tried to bring in Sis Neswa on that evening, but due to some network issue, but we're going to try again to bring her back. And from this program, we've decided to work and also recommend her to the CNN Heroes program. And we are putting that document together. We're going to put the documentary together, and we're going to refer her. We believe by God's grace that she is going to be recognized globally. So we're going to take that first initiative to recommend
Mhm.
her, and we know that God is going to open a lot of opportunities, through her for a lot of people in Liberia. Yes, most definitely. So and also we are going to be at some point in time, we're going to be bringing also the because here in the US we are part of um we are part of this group called the African Nationals Congregations, okay, of the
Mhm.
LCA. So
Okay.
we are going to be inviting Reverend Dr. Boko Joseph Boko to
Yeah.
this platform. We are also working on that. We're going to be getting him involved. And for now, the reason why, I mean, everyone knows that right now it is this church engagement, I would say. I don't really want to say political season in our church, but our church is actively engaged at this time. That's the reason why you see we are putting some focus on, because we want for our people to know, we want for our people to know our candidates. We want for our
Mhm.
people to get information, not only from, not to get one-sided story, that, oh, Reverend Allison, you see Reverend Allison, he's just a parliament. No. But Reverend Allison has served our church. He has
Mhm.
served our church. We're not only looking at his father, the father's work, but we're looking at his work in the church, his work as the Reverend Eric M. Allison. We're looking at the work of Reverend Molva Zizi. Okay, we're looking at the work of the Reverend Orita Miller Davis in the church. We're looking at the work of Reverend Goba. We're looking at the work of Reverend Janice Godo. We're looking at the work of Reverend Victor G. Patno. So, because we know that it's church engagement time, people will go, they will say, some other, they will provide some other information that is not actually true, you know. But when we come up, once we provide this opportunity for people out there, they will get to know the aspirants that that are in the race, and that I mean either one of them, like we said from the very beginning, that either one of them can make a good representation. So with that being said, quickly, can we look at this? we can quickly go ahead and look at this topic, this point. After the elections, Reverend Allison, again, will come back to you.
Hmm.
You've been in you've been through this process.
Yep.
You've been through this process. You went through elections. Um, in 2012.
Hmm.
In 2017, you did not participate.
Already in the US.
In 20 in 2020 in 2022, you initially thought about it, but because of your
Mhm.
family, and like you always told us that the first ministry is your family. The Bible
Yes.
says that your first ministry is your family.
Hmm.
So you consulted your family, and based on family concerns, you decided to back out. And I also want to actually I want you to clarify this. You had interest, but did you apply and back out, or you just had interest and stop at your interest?
You can put it that way. I never really did apply.
Okay, you never applied.
No, I did not.
Okay, so you had interest, but
I
later on,
was
due to some family
I was
concern,
in the I was in the consultation stage.
you were in a
We
consultation
call
stage.
it discernment. praying, discerning, and then consulting the family. And at the end of the day, we came to a consensus that you know um, we cannot go forward.
Okay, so
Yeah.
my question now is, what do we envisage of this LCL post election?
You
What
know,
has
you
it been? I know you've
something.
been through some other elections before, like
Yeah.
that you've witnessed some other elections before, like after the pre-election, post-elections. Okay,
Hmm. Usually, pre-election is pretty. What can we say? On the surface, it's pretty divisive. I mean, pre-election and even election time. But like in 2012, speaking from personal experience, we were three candidates. When the winner was announced in 2012 April at Totota, um, I and my supporters, my team, I strongly urge all of them. In fact, I mandated them to accept the results because I personally accepted the result as free, fair, transparent, and asked them to encourage them to rally behind, our new leader, the new bishop at the time, who is still the bishop today, Bishop Sankro. And that kind of quieted a lot of things, especially from our perspective, and then along the way, our brother, Reverend Padmo, also accepted the leader, and things were kind of a quiet now in the church. So there was a process of reconsolidation, reconciliation, I would say. There was not really major, conflict after the elections. But the leader called for, Bishop Senglo called for unity, reconciliation, and he tried to roll out his goals and objectives for his administration. And that has been going now. He's in his second term, and he's preparing now to pass the baton over to whoever is elected in April and consecrated in July of this year by God's grace. So reconciliation is very key. Reconsolidation is very key. The leader, the winner, we really have to reach out, send the olive branch to those who were not fortunate to have been, elected. Only one person can be elected at the end of the day. Even if there were 15, at the end of the day, only one person can occupy the office at a time. So is our prayer that whoever, in fact, all the candidates should be encouraged. We will encourage all the candidates to accept the results. That's the first thing, to pledge, to commit, to accept the results, and that everyone should, do free and fair. I don't like to use that word campaigning, but this is what we do now. Solicitation of support,
the, the election committee said canvassing.
canvassing, yeah, canvassing for votes for supporters. That's the church. So they should do it in a mature manner. They should do it objectively. They should do it in a friendly, loving, gentle Christian, biblical Christian principles. Love is the key. Love is the objective, the attitude. Even if the person is your opponent, quote unquote, but they're not your enemy, you know. We shouldn't have enemy in the church. We just simply contesting for one
Right, Reverend.
office.
Oh, sorry, Reverend. Just to come in quickly, I
Mhm,
understand that like that you said that the those contesting, okay, or those
mhm.
vying for this position, uh, they are opponents, but they are not enemies. Yes, I want to agree with that because even the Bible says that we are running a race. So if you and
Yeah.
I are running a race,
Hmm.
I want to reach before you, and you want to reach before me. So you become my opponent. Now we're running this race. Okay. So
Yeah, competitor.
competitor,
Is
right,
this the
right, a
whole?
competitor, right. So
Yeah.
like you said that after the 2015 or 2012 elections, right?
Hmm.
You call your team,
Hmm.
okay? You call your team to fully support the leadership of the Reverend
Definitely.
Dr. Jency Sinkolo.
Definitely.
Uh, the Reverend Patmo did call on his team, right?
Hmm.
Calling on your team is one thing, and then also the the winner has to also work too towards the like you've called your team already, so the winner too needs to accept in good faith and also work with the teams that have been called to work along with them. So but I have
Hmm.
this question. The question now here is that what are some of the challenges, right, post elections, for our church growth? Okay, what are some of the challenges?
Consolidation. Consolidation on the part of the leaders. You see, we got this joke once a while. Once a bishopric candidate, forever a bishopric candidate, especially if you don't win. So there's this mindset, since I was qualified and eligible to become the bishop, I'm like bishop in waiting, always. you know. But once there is a winner declared, like in 2012, once the winner was declared, I went and said, my brother, my big brother, I call him my big brother, I'm at your service, and that was it, from 2012 up to present, I'm still at his service. Even if I have to, go to Liberia to the church, I will still submit to his authority, or to whoever is elected. They will be my bishop, they will be my leader. So consolidation is very important. Reaching out, reaching beyond your what we call your constituency, because once you are declared the leader, the winner, you are now the shepherd for all the flock, for everybody, including the sheep of your opponents.
Right.
So your opponent plus their followers should see you as their leader, and you should see them as members and part of your family, the faith community, the church. So the leader is expected to really have a big heart, open mind, you know wide long hands, to be able to embrace everyone within the faith community, within the church, throughout the length and breadth of the country, and beyond, to those areas where the church has ministries and programs and projects. So it's very, very important.
Okay, Reverend. So I have a follow up question to that, but Brother Goya, do you have a comment to make on that question before the follow up question?
Yeah. I think the point that I think that question was driving at is, yes, I like the fact that you have to first consolidate all the leaders and stuff together. But what are those things that we see as priorities that should be priorities? What are some of those? What are some things that the church should be more focused on, given the fact that we had civil war, the rest of the world did not stop developing, and so our needs became the fact that we regressed in development. Also compounded the fact that our needs are now exponential, right, for our people.
Definitely.
So I heard, we talk about the ACE program and all that stuff, and yes, that is a need that keep expanding, that keeps increasing. But what are some other needs? What are some other places that the church maybe needs to either emphasize more on, or maybe start looking at, to ensure that we are actually ministering to not just the heart, but also not just the soul, but the heart and the hands and the head of the people that come to the church. So that was the point I was making. And then real quick, one thing about the election piece, and I like what you said, that we have to consolidate. But I think one caveat I want to put out there to all of the candidates is that the way you campaign will determine the ability of the winner to govern or not govern. We can all disagree on the way forward for the church, respectfully and in a Christ-like manner. We all can hold our own ideological background. I mean, grounds, saying this is how we want the church to go. This is how we don't want the church to go. But I can be very respectable in my disagreement, very Christ-like in my disagreement with the pastor that is next to me, to ensure that our followers, because our followers take cue from us, that when they campaign on our behalf, that they themselves too will recognize that yes, there is politics somewhat, but we have to look at this as this is a Christian politics, and the way you market your candidate has to be quite different than the way we will market a candidate for the House of Representatives, or for the House in Liberia, or for the Senate in Liberia, or for the presidency. Yes, we are
Oh,
still tallying votes because we want everybody to have a voice in the church, but we have to campaign different. And I like that word that you said, canvassing. I would just think, is I would hope they can change it to evangelizing. We are evangelizing for votes. We are trying
yeah.
to see what's our common ground. Because once you set that stage, then it becomes easy for whoever wins. Because it doesn't make any difference if Reverend Allison wins and I say, "Oh, let my follower follow Reverend Allison," but the campaign has been so vitriolic. We've said so many bad things and mean things and unchristian like things about one another. It becomes difficult. I would say it, but some of my followers might not truly believe and follow. So then you take a year or so trying to mend fences. That's a year or so that the church is going to lose. That should have been focused at something else. So that's just the one caveat I want to add to all of the respectable pastors that are running. That yes, we all love the Lutheran Church. That's the reason you're running. We all have an idea of what the Lutheran Church should be. That's the reason you're running. But can we make sure that we campaign in a Christ-like manner and as we evangelize for votes?
And brother Boya, I mean, I definitely want to join you on that and saying that, I mean, we need to be very mindful how, we carry on this canvassing or evangelizing for votes, because this is the thing again that, I mean, right after the elections, we're still going to be Lutherans. We're still going to be Christians. So after the elections, you want to tell me that, how can we really look at the faces of each other, saying that we're going to sit in the same room or gather together to have this communion together? How are we going to do that? How am I going to like go and say, okay, you know what? The no, don't vote for Reverend Allison because he's clerical, it's not straight, it's crooked. Reverend Allison is only doing it because his father was the pastor for St. Peter's and he did this and he did that, or Reverend Allison is a bellar man. Then at the end of the day, all of the negative things that I've said about Reverend Allison, I'm now the bishop. Let's put it that I won. Reverend Allison did not win. Okay, but how do I, open my arms to this brother of mine? So again, like I said, I do agree with you. I agree with you that the way in which we run the campaign, the things that we say about our fellow, you know aspirants, our competitors that are in the race. I mean, there are some lines that we shouldn't cross. We need to be mindful. There are some lines that we shouldn't cross. And the follow up question that I have for Reverend Allison is this something that has been done? Like, okay, I agree that you told your team to, you know, wave olive branch and work together. Reverend Patmos did the same thing. That we see this after the elections. That we see something like that, like post elections. That we see something like that from the other end. Because it is one thing, Brother Goya, it's one thing for me to extend olive branch or to give a white flag to you, and it is another thing too to accept it and work along with me. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
true.
I
We
think
need to be true to each other. This is true.
practically, I think the leader, the leader, the chosen leader at the time in 2012, definitely opened his arms and received us. The fact that I did not leave the church in 2012 after losing.
Right.
You know, I remained with the church, continued serving, developing leaders for the church at the seminary in Bangor, and representing the church, at that level. And then there were some members of our team that were given the opportunity to serve, in the leadership, in the new leadership, the new administration, in the church, in various capacities. I don't want to be specific, but some members of our team, they're still serving. They're still serving in those capacities. So for me, concrete actions were taken towards reunification, reunifying the church. You see, when you engage like a pastor, that pastor has sheep, got a followers. So if you engage a pastor positively, obviously the followers of that pastor obviously will respond, positively. You know, so I can say yes, definitely. Practically, there were steps taken to reunify the church, to reconcile the church, and I'm really hoping and praying that that will happen after April April 24th this year.
So okay, Brother Kuya, I mean, we kind of we are actually in our winding down stage. Okay,
Mhm.
what would be your comment when it comes to the entire electoral process now? Like now, the candidates have been vetted by the election committee. The list is coming up this week. Hopefully, the list is coming up. Um, the church is going to be going to a convention slash elections in April. What do you see leading to the process and after the process?
Well, I I follow. This is not my first rodeo, right, with a Lutheran Church election.
Okay.
So, and there was a reason I was speaking from that end because I've been to Totota before, and we've seen
And quickly, just to jump in quickly, we're going to Total again, right, Reverend Addison?
No, Total was first like, but now they relocated to Banga.
Okay, to Banga.
They
yeah,
Okay,
changed
okay,
the
Banga,
venue to Banga,
Banga,
okay.
centrally located.
Central
yeah.
located.
Banga does not have a track record as being as troublesome as a Totota convention.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
Haven't participated in a few of those. Woo. But but I think the Lutheran Church, because of the caliber of qualified people, both at the leadership level and at the operational level and at the layman level that we have, it's very easy for us to have these very critical, complicated conversations, and which I'm very grateful for because there are a lot of other entities that lack that. Right. Having said that, I'm grateful. I'm hopeful that as we go to the convention, that folks out there are going to be campaigning for their candidates and not against another candidate because that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
You go out and sell your candidate. Tell people
Mm-hmm.
why they should vote for your candidate as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
why they should vote against another candidate. Because once we
Right.
get in that weed of talking about why folks should vote against somebody, that's when we get into the complication of calling people names, calling people out of their names, sullying
Mm-hmm.
people reputation, tarnishing people hard-earned credibility. So
Mm-hmm.
as my only one hope and my appeal to, because I can't participate, but our brethren and sisters on the ground, is that as you go about evangelizing for votes for your candidates, please stick to speaking for why they should vote for your candidate and how that will progress the Lutheran Church, as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to voting against another candidate and how that would degrade the Lutheran Church. That would be my one and only advice. And I hope whoever wins, that everybody comes around, which we're always used to doing anyway, but we come around faster because there's a lot of things that we need to do to catch up. The Lutheran Church has been slacking since the war. We need the last time they were here talking about school. We need a university. There are a lot of people sitting watching. I'm going to put my hands up and say I'm one of those people sitting watching and see when is that call going to be made for people to come around to start organizing and raising funds and putting together curriculum and establishing colleges and departments because it's way late for the Lutheran Church. We have been leading education from LTI days. Now
Mm-hmm.
there are these other things that just started 3 weeks ago now, all have universities. And we're still sitting here as Lutherans, as people who were one of the first churches, denominations on the ground in Liberia. So I will hope that after the election, we can come around real quick and real fast because there is a drug pandemic right now in Liberia, and the church is missing as a critical voice in that. So there has to be a lot of help focused at our young people who are in the streets right now, and we have to be able to evangelize to their hearts, to their soul, and to their wealth. And the only way we can do that is to come around real fast, real quick, because we don't have 1 year to waste trying to reunify. And the only way we make sure we save that time is to make sure that when you go out to campaign, please campaign for your candidate and not against another candidate. That would be my only point I have to make.
Thank you, thank
Amen to
you,
that.
thank you so much. Amen to that. I join
Mm-hmm.
Reverend to say amen to that. Reverend,
Mm-hmm.
so one thing I just a few things I grabbed from my brother Goya, and it's very important that when we go out to canvas for our candidates, when we go out to evangelize for vote, when we go out to seek for vote, we should focus. And I join him to appeal to all of us that have interest in candidates. We should focus on presenting our candidates, you know, why our candidates should be elected for this position,
Mm-hmm.
as to why you shouldn't go and vote for that person. We shouldn't go about the negative campaign. We shouldn't go about,
Mm-hmm.
tearing down other people, because it's very easy for us to tear down everyone, but for us to build back together, it will be a high thing. Like Brother Goya said, that's the time the church is going to take another 365 days at least to bring the church together,
We reconcile, yeah.
to reconcile. And within those 365 days, we could
We
do
should be
something and we
working.
start moving forward.
Should be
And to you,
developing.
and to my brother again, Brother Goya, I would tell you that the man sitting right here, Reverend Dr. Aaron Allison, he's on the steering committee for this Lutheran University. So we're going to have another segment again. He's going to be coming here. He's this Madia and the team from Liberia, Reverend Jesse G.S. King, and there's another lady from good, not good, St. Andrew's Lutheran Church. She's the one heading the ACO committee for Phoebe School of Nursing. So we're going to be bringing them back so we can talk about this Lutheran University. While I was in Phoebe last April, the project was launched. The project was launched in April. So the project was given a go ahead to start, but it has not been officially, the university had not started yet. So they are working on other things. So he is also part of it. I just wanted to make that point. Um, yes, and again, I want to say this is not going to be your first time. We're gonna get you again. We're gonna get you to
Definitely,
stop by. We're gonna
definitely.
get you to stop by again.
Hmm.
All right, Remy. And any comment before we can close this evening?
I would really hope and pray that once the election commission comes up with the list of qualified candidates, um, this platform can arrange with the election commission, the not some, but representatives, official representatives of each of the candidates, and also the candidates themselves. If not three different talk shows, maybe two talk shows, to bring all of these people together to have a broad picture of where they would like to take the church. You know, so I think that's where I would like to encourage this platform, my Lutheran connections, to think about very seriously. But let's pray that the commission will come up with the successful list.
Yeah, Reverend. Thank you for your recommendation, and we want to let you know that we already have schedules outlined um, between now until April 24th. Um, the month, mainly the month of March, from the end of this February to the month of March, we want to dedicate each Sunday to one of the candidates, and also if the candidate is not available, we're gonna have like a senior representative of that candidate's team
Right.
to appear
Right.
on the show.
Right.
And if the candidate or the senior representative is not available, we are still going to discuss the candidate. We're going to
Mhm.
look at the strength. We're going to look at the weakness. We're going to look at the areas in which they've served, what they did in those areas. So we're going to look. We're going to discuss the candidate along with our viewing public. So we already have that outline. We already have that
Okay.
outline. So again, we want to say a big thank you to our Reverend. Our Reverend is always standing by. I just got the Reverend, I would say probably like a couple of hours ago, and our brother as well. uh he's still open, but anyway, that's the lofa kind of thing. We get the lofa kind of issue. So
Mhm.
With me at the inauguration in Pennsylvania, that would be
yeah. So, but again, I just want to recognize just very few people that I can see up here. Brother Sonny A. George, thank you so much for your participation.
Mhm.
Sis Orita Flomo, thank you so much. Sis Jackie King, our brother Jerome Jala, uh, uh, Leroy Molba. We want to say thank you to all of you for tuning in. Um, quickly before we close today, Brother Goya spoke about our dear brother, Dr. King.
Mhm.
Uh, uh, Brother King might have been, we maybe at the time that we were kind of active, uh, um, let's say he might have like been active. He was in the fellowship, but at the time we started coming in, some of the senior brothers were like more focused on other activities in the church. um I know his wife very, very well, Mamatu King. She was Mamatu Bakuya, and now she Mamatu Bakuya King from the St. Paul's Parish, Kakata, and that's the same parish my wife is from. So we are going to take a Sunday. We're going to discuss in the back end. We're going to get our brother Goya. We're going to get our sister Nelly. We're going to get our sister Lopu Flomo, and we are going to work along with Aliyah. We're going to have a show specifically dedicated to raising funds for our brother. We understand that he's now, thank you for the information, Brother Goya, that he's now in India, but going to India and spending the time in India for the treatment and everything, I mean, it requires some support. So
Mhm.
again, I go back to say that whatsoever we do for the least of our brother, I know we've done this in the past, and this is a call to all of us Liberian Lutherans that find ourselves up here. We've done this in the past. We've assisted families. We helped some of our pastors through the LCL to go for treatment. We've helped some of our pastors, even at the very last end, we still help. We're not going to be naming names here, but we know that we
Mhm.
can still do it by the grace of God. So we're going to find a time. We're going to discuss with. We're going to have a conversation with, like, Aliyah. Okay. Um, okay. And in addition to our individual prayers and support for the family, and I understand that he will be seeing his doctor tomorrow. So this is just the first stage. So it might be that initially, okay, that he will need to spend, maybe it will be he need to spend a week, 2 weeks or 3 weeks at the hospital. But who knows? Something else could come up. The doctors could go and find something else and say, look, instead of initially we thought it was like 2 3 weeks, but we think he's going to spend a month here. So, and we all know, staying abroad, you are not home. I mean, it's a different environment. Even just traveling from your comfort zone to another location, you need funding. So please, we will be, like I said, we'll be having a show specifically, even if it's going to be during the week or on a Saturday or a weekend, but on a Sunday, we're going to still be having this program, and we're going to be asking you for your support. And we're going to be informing you on what date it's going to be. So we're going to expect people to call in, and I'm very good at that. If we expect people to call in, if you don't call, we're going to call you, and we will call you on the show to, at least make some contribution. But this is for the water cause. This is for our brother. This is for saving the life of our brother. Our brother, he is a Lutheran, and we all are Lutheran Christians. So please let us rally around and support our brother. So quickly before we just end the show, there is a comment here. Okay, so brother Zoa, we say thank you very much for watching from Johnsonville. Again, we want to say until we meet next time, to all of our Lutheran brothers and sisters, we say God bless you all. We thank you. We say let us keep praying for each other. Let us pray for our church, most especially the Lutheran church in Liberia, because this is the only common denominator that we all have as Lutherans, the Liberian Lutherans, our church, the LCL. Again, until then, we want to say thank you very much, and may God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Amen.
Thank you.